Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to give everybody an afternoon update of the events regarding the styrene leak of the rail car uh, over on Route 50 in Whitewater Township. Uh, Currently, we're making progress on mitigating the event. We've got the expert agencies here working on the car and working on the contents and and the car contents. Um, the road closures within the township still remain the same. They have not changed. The evacuation area is still at a half a mile. At this time, it don't foresee that changing at all. Uh, Currently working with our partners at County EMA, they are working on a searchable map that will be available to the community through their website. When I get more information, we'll make sure we share that as well. I did bring some representatives with us to share information. I have Mike Miller from the Central Railroad of Indiana with an update on his part.
Thanks, Mike. Well, real quickly, I think everyone's aware at 1 p.m. yesterday, the tank car that we had on the Central Railroad of Indiana began leaking. It was venting styrene. Probable cause was that the additive stabilizer in the car became ineffective. The first responders noticed the venting. They were on site. We mobilized environmental contractors and we mobilized the scene. Local fire department began watering the car to keep the temperature down. Out of abundance of caution, local officials evacuated the area around where the car was located. That included residents and businesses. We initiated air quality monitoring at that time once contractors got on site, and we've been working very closely with the customer INEOS as well as environmental agencies to understand the chemistry of the styrene, how long it would take for the car to decompress, the polymers to harden, and the venting to stop. As of this morning, the car is no longer venting. It appears the styrene is forming up and firming. The car, we have measured the car. The temperature's in a safe range right now. Air quality reports remain, there's no issues with air quality. We thank the responders for the last 24 hours. They've been tirelessly working through the night. Also want to thank the community. We know this is an inconvenience, and we're trying our best to try to take care of the community if we can. There's representatives from the railroad available here at the community center, effective at noon today, so they'll be available to have a conversation with you here, as well as we're setting up a phone line that you can call in and get help as well. And that number is 800-757-7387. So if you have any issues, please visit representatives here at the community center or feel free to dial that number for any help. Yeah, it's 1-800-757-7387.
Thank you, Mike. So specialty teams, as we mentioned, are still assessing the rail car, and they're working tirelessly, as mentioned. The Whitewater Township Community Center still is a resource center for the residents. The Sheriff's Department, on a case-by-case basis, is providing some transportation for residents that require or need medications from their residents. You can I believe it's 211, call 211 for routing instructions for that assistance, but it is a case-by-case basis. In addition, we've got we've talked about air quality. We have Jason Cashmere, the on-scene coordinator from US EPA, who's going to provide his update.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Good afternoon, everyone. US EPA became aware of the situation yesterday afternoon. We had a call. US EPA became aware of the situation yesterday afternoon. We got a call from the National Response Center that a styrene car was off-gassing in Cleves, Ohio. And at the request of Ohio EPA, we responded last night. We established 3 fixed air monitoring stations throughout the community, as well as roving monitoring. So what that means is we have crews that are driving through the neighborhoods collecting readings, and overnight we didn't observe any kind of readings or any kind of odors. We're continuing to monitor today and planned on doing so throughout the evening. And that's the current situation as it exists right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. In addition, I have Dr. Stephen Fagan, the Medical Director of Hamilton County Public Health. He's going to provide some additional information on health effects. Doctor?
Thank you, Chief. Styrene is a volatile liquid, which means it evaporates almost immediately after it enters the air. And so the likelihood of any sort of irritation or even toxicity is very low, especially anyone outside a half-mile radius, which for an abundance of caution has been evacuated. It is possible that you may smell something. You can smell, the nose is very sensitive. You can smell 1 to 2 parts per billion, well below any sort of toxic level or anything like that. I'm also, I am not aware of any hospitalizations that have occurred related to this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. So I wanted to, in closing, reference the United Way's 211 number for people that need assistance, so at least direct you towards who to go to and so on and so forth. Whitewater Township Community Center is your resource center. It is set up here at 6125 Dry Fork Road, and they'll be here to help with any of your questions or needs. Please direct anything towards those resources. If you do feel you have an emergency, again, still use 911, but if you've got general questions, please use those resources. At this time, I'm going to open up for several questions.
How many of those 29 rail cars were carrying the styrene?
I don't know.
Based upon the consist information, there was another 14 cars. All 14 cars were tested today as well, temperature-wise, to make sure there was no issues with those cars. Those cars have actually been moved or in process of being moved to the facility, so it'll be in their care, so they'll be monitored closely. So right now there's no concerns with any other cars, and we've tested all the other cars that we could access.
So we're hearing there's no air quality issues at this point, which is encouraging. Why not let people go back home?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we believe there is.
So that is a health department question. We're providing them data, and the health department would make that decision.
What do they need to know how does that work?
So we would provide our data to them, and they would make that decision. That's their authority.
What's that threshold? How many days would you like to be able to collect that data to feel comfortable with the decision?
We would have to see what the situation is with the car, and out of an abundance of caution, when it's safe.
How long do you guys anticipate this lasting then?
That I don't know at this point.
So it just
until
seems
it's
really
safe.
confusing. If you're saying the air quality is safe, I mean, I can appreciate what the people are probably wondering, and you have data, and it goes to the health department, and I don't mean to, sorry to press the point, but what does the data show? If it's safe, then okay, it seems like this has been settled.
Yeah, again, that's not our call. That's a health department call. So
Anyone?
I can't. I'll defer to them.
I think something to consider too, it's not just the health risk, that would be the longer area. What we're concerned is that tank cars, it's a volatile product. It could heat up and it can expand and it could actually explode. That risk is reduced, but it's still a risk nevertheless. So we are still maintaining that abundance of caution to maintain that evacuation zone. We want to make sure that the community is safe. So please understand, it's more not the health inhalation risk, it's more of the explosion risk at this point. Okay, thank you.
My question is what do you recommend to residents who had numb tongues and burning eyes, still dealing with headaches? What do you recommend to them?
I would say you would go to the emergency center and get checked out and be evaluated from there. That's the best recommendation at this point. Yes, ma'am.
I'm 2 doors down from the fire department. I smelled it at 1 o'clock.
Right.
Started getting nervous and worrying, like, what is this?
Severe.
Rang the doorbell to the fire department.
Well,
they was already gone.
Right, they were already gone.
Where was
911.
they? At Green Acres?
They were probably. I can't speak for sure where they're at. I know.
Everybody was going, but there was only 2
I understand.
crews.
We can talk about that later. But at 12:46, they were notified that they had a leak, so they were off station
We still
providing
didn't know
customers.
what was going on. I'm walking around town trying to
But
figure
I think
out-
we're happy to talk to the residents. We can do that inside in a manner that we can address the residents directly. So for the press release, what is going to go out to the general public? That's not at all, ma'am. It's actually to give you a more intimate response, and so that you know that we are folks that live in this area just like you.
I just want you guys to know how the residents are feeling The residents are feeling
Yeah.
displaced, scared, they have nowhere
Freaked
to
out.
go. They left their everything. They
And-
stepped up and walked out of their house. My
Thinking we
mom
was
left
going
without
home.
her wheelchair.
Yeah, and we're ready to help you with that. So we'll talk with you guys inside in a more private manner,
I mean, we still got dogs there and
Okay.
cats and
and we can help. We can help with all that.
hamsters that we
Yeah.
can't get in to get
We can-
cats and
We can help that. That's why we have set up that
we
201
had a crock
notification.
pot on the stove and they would not let us go in and turn it off.
Right. Again, we've set up that notification number, and again,
But
it's
the
here
news
for
is
help
out-
you.
I mean, sorry guys, but you all act
Right.
like everything is fine, but we can't go home.
Well, again.
It's not fine.
Okay.
It's
Well,
not
what we're
fine.
working on again is abundance of caution. We're concerned about the temperature rising in the thing
I
and
get that, but we
explosion.
did smell your smell.
Right.
We
So-
tasted it. It was like licking
Any other questions?
Crazy.
Yeah, I've got questions about the cleanup. Is there cleanup anticipated here? What kind of cleanup? Will there be vents that need to be cleaned? What needs to happen
Houses.
now that the leak part of this thing appears to be over, at least at this point?
I think what we'll end up
If you
doing
could
is
step up to the mic, thank you.
we'll end up assessing all the air quality. We'll do samples of that. We'll try to identify wind flows, all that stuff. And if there's issues that need to be addressed with ventilation systems, filters, those all be taken care of.
Should people expect that?
Yeah, and I think if they have a concern, they have a number to reach out to and a desk set up here that we could actually address that on a case-by-case basis to address it.
Who
Hey,
owns
Mike, we
these cars
understand this
and where were they
inhibitor,
headed?
which is time and
Bingo.
temperature dependent, was the inhibitor past its expiration, or the solution just exceed the safe temperature and cause the change?
I honestly don't know the right answer to that question. We're actually investigating that. It could have been a combination of both, but clearly that inhibitor holds and stabilizes that chemical.
What is the temperature now?
The temperature is well within seas. The reason it's not venting is the temperature is below the venting thing, and that's really what happened yesterday.
And we understand styrene is 1.5 times heavier than air. Is there any chance that it could have consolidated, condensed, and fallen to the ground and be on the ground? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, the polymer as it vented was vented as a gas. So there was no leaking of the car to this point. The car didn't rupture, it was just the vent. So the gas was venting out, and it just exposed into the air. There was no product on the ground at this point in time that we've identified.
Are you confident that the tanker car was in compliance with all government regulations for transportation?
I can only say what I know. The car worked exactly the way the car was designed. That car was supposed to vent versus explode, and that's what happened. So we believe the car was in good condition and within specifications.
Who owns the vehicle? Who owns that car?
We're gonna go
That
one at a
tanker?
time.
Who owns the tanker?
That tanker car is either owned or leased by the customer, and it's Ineos is the shipper of that commodity. So it's their cars. They lease or own it. I don't know if they lease or own it. It moves across the railroad as a customer-owned piece of equipment.
And Mike, do you know at this point if there is any kind of air movement? Do we know what direction it's heading in for folks that are watching right now?
I believe the EPA is monitoring all that.
Yeah, so I can speak to that. I mean, we have air monitoring stations that are set up to address any kind of wind shift or, anything like that we would encounter. And not only that, the car is not off-gassing currently and hasn't been since last night.
Christian?
Real quick, where was the car headed? I mean, there's only a limited number of
And how long was it sitting there? No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the car was headed to a facility just down the road here, just a few miles.
And how long was it sitting there?
Member spotted, or was it like a passerby?
No, if the first responder, actually the fire department noticed that it was venting.
So they saw it from
Yeah.
50 and.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still a little confused. Is there concern about ground contamination or even water contamination from the leak?
We're going to continue to look at that. I mean, we sprayed a lot of water on the car itself, so we want to make sure that that is okay. But we don't believe that to be the case.
How long exactly was that tanker leaking for? I know it was like they saw it leaking at one, but did
But
it
we
start
smelled
at
it
one?
Monday.
They've been smelling at the Kilby Road intersection for days.
We don't know
Days.
other than
Days
that being
before.
recognized. But we have crews running up here all the time, so
I'm 2 doors from the fire department, and I had to look around my place to see if I had a fire going, like a wire burning smell.
Understand.
At 1
So,
o'clock.
is there any additional questions? Otherwise, I'd like to end this right now, and then we will plan another briefing at 7 p.m. this evening. We'll update you. Okay. So any changes, we'll make sure we get that out. There's social media outlets as well, and we'll make sure that any information that you need is here at the community center. Thank you.